crew. All of it was freeing. The bonds that had twisted around his heart for the past 2 years, growing tighter and tighter, stifling him until he was sure he'd burst, were slowly unraveling. Out here, at least, he could breathe. He glanced over at Briggs, who was scrubbing a hand over his eyes. "Sleep well? Like the dead. You should have slept longer." Briggs raised a brow at him, causing the angry red scar that ran across his forehead to pucker. "I could say the same to you, Captain." Will chuckled. "Touché." Briggs was right. Will had achieved no more than 2 hours of sleep in the pre-dawn hours. He could have slept in later, but he'd been anxious to survey the freedom in the light of day. He was glad he had. The anxiety and energy that had compelled him into action since the beginning of the storm were gone now, and he felt, not exactly happy, but peaceful, for the first time in a long while. "No sightings this morning," Briggs said. "No surprise there," Will answered. Briggs scanned the horizon with narrowed eyes. "Aye. Well, it's bloody foggy. And we're too far offshore." Will had a theory that the particular ship they pursued, a brig smuggling rum from the West Indies, remained close to the shore for several weeks at a time. Instead of using one cove as a drop for its cargo, it used several, depositing a few barrels of rum here and another few there, so as to throw the authorities off its scent. The captain of this ship was wily, and he had proved elusive to the Coast Guard as well as the revenue cutters. They had a vague description of the man, but nobody knew his name. Or perhaps more accurately, no one was willing to reveal his name. The Freedom was, in essence, a spy ship. With only 4 guns and a crew of 20, they wouldn't stand in a fight against a fully armed brig with a crew of 100. Their task, instead of capturing the pirates, was to log the brig's activities and hand over the information to the revenue officers, who in turn would seize the ship and its illegal cargo, then prosecute the smugglers. Will glanced over at Briggs and saw the muscle working in his jaw. He clapped a hand over the man's shoulder. "Patience," he said in a low voice. Briggs was a few years younger than him, and patience had never been his strong suit. He was anxious to find the culprits, whereas Will preferred to take things slowly, as if they had all the time in the world. The best plan of action was probably somewhere in between the two men's methods. If they waited too long, the brig would be on its way back to the West Indies for its next illegal mission, not to be seen in these waters for at least another year. Briggs turned to Will and nodded, the edges of his blue eyes crinkling against the glare of the morning sun's attempt to burn through the fog. "We've been out here a fortnight, and haven't seen a hint of them." The wind had picked up, and it ruffled through the other man's thick, tawny hair and sent wisps of fog swirling through the rigging behind him. "We'll find them." Will squeezed Briggs's shoulder. Neither man said any more. Instead, both turned back to gaze out over the ocean. The sea and wind were slowly gathering strength after their rest from the gale, and the schooner sliced through the small waves at a faster pace now. Will took a deep breath of the salt air. So much cleaner than the stale, rank air full of sewage and coal smoke in London. "What's that?" Briggs asked. Will glanced at the man to see him squinting out over the open ocean. "What's what?" His first mate pointed straight ahead. "That." Will scanned the sea. Could he have been wrong all this time? Might they encounter the smugglers way out here? Even as he thought it, he realized how unlikely it was. More likely they'd come across another legal English or Irish vessel. Seeing nothing, he methodically scanned the blurred horizon once again. And then he saw it. The prow of a boat, emerging like a spectre from the fog. Will frowned. The vessel was too small to be this far out at sea on its own. After half a minute in which they both stared at the emerging shape, Briggs murmured, "Holy hell! Is it a jolly boat?" With a broken